The real problem is, like, I was asking myself this question. I was staying in kind of a nice part of Tel Aviv that, had like fancy wine stores, yoga studios, people walking around in Lululemon, the full liberal catastrophe, right? Like the whole picture. You could squint and, I mean, the architecture would be different, but it could be Marin or the West Village or the Mission District or whatever, right? Like you put a gun to your average Westerner's head and say, your children must grow up in Gaza City or Tel Aviv. And there's only going to be one answer, right? The reality is that Israel is the only country anybody in the West would ever deign to live in, ever. That is just the reality of it. So that raises the paradox. How can it be that literally the only place that Westerners would actually be willing to live, they're actually against, right? And the reality is, right, it's all a game. I mean, it's like, I've joked that it's like Cuba. I spent my 20s fighting about Cuba because I came, my parents were Cuban, came from Miami, the whole thing. All these idiot delusional lefties used to have this vision of Cuba, brilliant healthcare, all this bullshit, while sitting in Northern California, of course, they never moved there or anything. And you just had to disabuse them of this notion, and eventually either the truth came out or became less fashionable because of the Cold War or whatever.